What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades, and you can see here, no blades out here. What we've got is my personal Taurus G2c out here, and we are going to do the Taurus night sight upgrade install for the G2c, G3, and TX22. These are the night sights that are made by Ameriglo for Taurus, and they are basically a Taurus dovetail specific Spartan operator set. And we'll take a closer look at them. I've got all the necessary tools out here to do this job. Really, the only other thing that you might need is whatever specific tool that you use to center your back sight. As I like to shoot around my back sight and not really totally off of my back sight, I just eyeball it to center it on the initial install, and then I will adjust later after I shoot off of the sights. So you've got everything out here you need. Of course, you need your pistol, you'll need your sights. I've got some blue Loctite out here, blue, not the red type. You will need a small flat head screwdriver with a long, narrow shaft is easiest to work with. I'll show you why. I've got some rubbing alcohol out here that's just used to do a little bit of cleaning, some Q-tips to do that cleaning with, and you will notice a sheet of paper over here. What I'm going to do is, when I take the old sights out, I am going to reuse the factory screws. I'm going to take them off, I'm going to clean them, and then I'm going to hit them with some blue Loctite and set them aside while we're going through the rest of the procedure. And that will let that liquid Loctite start to get tacky. It's a little bit easier to work with. It's a little bit less messy. If you have the solid type of blue Loctite that's in sort of the big chapstick tube, I have not used that for sights. I don't see why it wouldn't work, and it would be much less messy to deal with rather than the liquid type, which can be a huge mess. And don't worry about it. Loctite, blue Loctite is not like super glue. It is easy to clean up. So let's get this stuff out of the way right here. And why would you want to upgrade your sights on your pistol? As we check that this pistol is clear, you'll notice as we disassemble this pistol, it's not clean, and the reason is this is actually a carry pistol. Unlike a lot of YouTube gun content creators, this is my personal pistol. It is not just one that I bought to review to get views on. We are going to discard the frame of this over to the side and just work with the slide. We will take the captive recoil spring out. We will take the barrel out. Now, the sights on the Taurus G2c, G3, and TX22 are unique in the size of the dovetail. The front sight is a screw mount sight, just like Glock type front sights. And it is a very, very easy changeover. You will not need a sight pusher. You don't have to worry about getting a punch and a hammer and beating these sights out. They're held in by the set screws rather than a friction fit on the dovetails, which is, I guess, both good and bad. I'm not sure. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our flathead screwdriver. We're going to totally remove this back sight screw, dump it out. I am going to get my alcohol, and we are going to clean this screw just a little bit. We're going to clean any old Loctite or whatever gunk or anything that's on it. And we're going to set it aside, let that alcohol evaporate off. This side, look at this. It just slides in and out, guys. That is your plastic factory sight. Actually, what this is the fixed sight from my G3 pistol, and not the original adjustable rear plastic sight from the G2c. Those sights are somewhere set off in storage, and they're the same, basically the same thing, but just in a fixed sight and a plastic sight. We're going to set that aside, and then we're going to take that alcohol and we're going to clean this dovetail here and get anything out of it that we can. And we just want to have a good mating surface, because we're going to use a little bit of Loctite in here in this rear sight. And you can see right here, look at that. I'm sure that is a lot of carbon that comes up through. You've got a hole right here. I'm not exactly sure what that hole is, but then you've got the screw hole. I'm sure there is some carbon that escapes up out of that slide up into this area when you are shooting, and that's what we're seeing there in the black. We will go up to the front sight here, flip that over, and you can see right in there, there is a flathead screw. We're going to get down in there, and the reason you want a long, thin shaft screwdriver is you're going to have to butt up against this part of that fits around the recoil spring on this. And we're going to take that screw out. Let's take that screw out, guys. Dump it out here. These are very, very small screws that you will want to reuse. There is that factory sight. You can see I've put some orange nail polish in that dot to make it pop out. The very good modification for the factory sights on any of the G series pistols. If you want that factory sight to pop a little more, that is a very good modification. That is very cheap, very easy to do. We are going to clean this rear screw with some rubbing alcohol, and then we're going to set it aside to dry. We want that alcohol dried off of there before we come and pre-treat that screw with some blue Loctite. Then we're going to come in here and we are going to clean with our rubbing alcohol, and I'm getting down in the hole through the slide itself, cleaning that top and bottom, guys. And it's what is most important on doing an install like this is getting clean surfaces to work with. In this type of sight install where it is not press fit, you are very much relying on those very small screws. Very much relying on that. All right, so let's set the slide apart. We're going to bring the screws back in here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to pre-treat. I'm going to put a drop of blue Loctite out on my paper, and then I'm going to pre-treat the threads of these screws in that blue Loctite. And it doesn't take much. It does not take much. I'm going to turn that around, let it seep around that screw, you know. And then I'm just going to set the screw back down here. And I'm going to take this other screw that is extremely small, the front sight screw, and I'm going to do the same thing to it and set it aside. All right. And then I'm going to pull these off to the side. Pull them off to the side, and that way that blue Loctite can start to get a little tacky, and it stays with the screw when I go to install it. Because those little bitty screws can be a little finicky just holding on to them. Now let's take a look at our sights right here. This is the packaging. It's a very plain, guys. There's no instructions with it. That's why Baz on Blades is doing this install for you. After covering these sites originally, I was amazed at the number of people that wanted an install video for these. And that's okay. That gives me some more content, and it gives you guys something to look at. And for those of you that need it, there you go. It is a very easy install. Now, we're going to compare these sights a little bit here. And on the right, we have the factory sights, the plastic sights. On the left, we have the night sights. All right, guys. You can see there is approximately a 10-15% difference in size. You get a little bit bigger sight, and it's not so big that it looks funny on the pistol, but it is big enough to make a difference in your sight picture. And to me, it helps me to pick up these sights a little quicker on presentation. Now, there's a much bigger difference in the front sight here. You can see there, I'm sorry guys if I'm covering that up with my fingers, but you can see it's a much bigger difference. You can see the focus ring on that front sight is pretty doggone big, and I love these sights. Go back and look at my other videos on these sights if you want to see the difference as far as sight picture, and we'll see it at the end of this video anyway. So let's see, everything is dry as far as the slide goes. We've got our replacement sights right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with a Q-tip with that blue Loctite, and I'm going to mess around just a little bit around the screw hole on this front sight. I'm not gooping a lot on there or anything. And blue Loctite is not like super glue, okay? What I'm going to do, I'm just going to place it. Then I'm going to take my front screw here for that sight and try to get a hold of it. It is a very small screw, so if I have to, I may pause this video if I have a hard time getting it started, guys, as I'm working around the camera, because you've got to drop it down in there and hope you get hope you can find the hole. It is a pain in the ass to get. Oh my Lord. It is a pain in the ass to get started, especially if your screwdriver is slightly magnetized just enough to where it causes everything to sort of move around, but it's not enough to hold on to anything. We want to, come on now. Come on, get in there. Oh, come on. Guys, I may have to pause this in order to get this screw started. You can see there's no way you can reach down in there and get that screw started. You just can't get your fingers down in the opening to do it. Oh my God. So if you do this install and you have a hard time doing it, don't feel bad. You just saw how long it took me just to get that screw started. Now, I have not backed that screw out to even make sure it's not cross-threaded. You need to make sure of that, all right? You need to back it out until you feel that screw reseat properly. Start it back in, and then you're going to tighten it down, all right? Now, you're going to eyeball the front sight because it's going to have potential for movement in it, and you want to get it straight in line of the slide. One thing that you can do, let me grab real quick, let me grab a ruler here, a straight edge, and we're going to put it up against that sight. And that will give you some visual context And I'm lining it up here on the loaded chamber indicator. I'm looking at the gap on it. I can come to the other side and I'm going to line it up on the front side and look at the gap on it. I'm just sort of eyeballing it. We're just doing the initial install, getting it started. Now, we've got that started. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with my blue Loctite, and I'm going to put one very small drop of blue Loctite on the leading edge of the dovetail, on the leading edge. And the reason I'm doing that is Loctite is basically a vibration mitigator. And vibration is the worst enemy of a small piece of hardware, a small screw. You notice I push that side in across that Loctite, and what I'm doing is I'm distributing that Loctite across the edges of the dovetail. Now, I don't know officially if that helps or not. I don't know, guys. But I've not had anything come loose when I do that. I'm going to drop that small screw in there. Let's see if we can get that small screw started, guys, here live at Baz on Blades. We're going to get that started. Now, before I seat that down all the way, the hole in the through hole on the sides is slightly oblong, okay? You can see there's a little bit of an opening on this edge. It is oblong where the screw is round, and that gives us a little bit of play on that, around that screw. That gives you your adjustment range. You see right here, I've got a little bit of adjustment range as far as windage goes. What I want to do is I am looking at, for me personally, I'm looking at the back edge of this dovetail where it rolls up into the flat of the slide, the top of the slide. And I want to, I'm sort of eyeballing that, okay? Just to see that I've got it even on each side. And it may not be perfect, guys. The human hand and the human eyes are not capable of discerning thousandths of an inch, small amounts, thousandths of an inch. Now, once you get to a 32nd of an inch, you can start seeing that. But I want to tighten that down a little bit. Be careful with that hardware. It is very small. Okay, you cannot put a lot of pressure on it. I've got a little bit of play in that. Let's make sure that that is seated well. Again, I'm going to loosen that until I feel the edge of the thread in there. Then re-screw it in. Let's see here, guys. All right. There we go. We got the front side in. The front side looks pretty straight to me. The rear side looks pretty even to me. Now, the big thing to do here right now is set it down and leave it alone. You need to let the Loctite set up if you are happy with the initial spacing of these sights. If you are happy with that on your install, set it down and leave it alone and let the Loctite have 12 to 24 hours to set up. Beyond that, you're going to take it out, you're going to test fire it, and see how your sights are, whether they are on or not. There you go. There is your sight picture on those. It is a much more open sight picture, a much more combat effective sight picture than the factory sights. They are a little bit bigger. They are all steel sights. They are tritium night sights. So there you go. That's it. That is it. Take a little bit of time to clean the hardware, the dovetails. Use a little bit of blue Loctite. And, eyeball everything, get it centered up. If you want to use a straight edge to check whether it is lined up, okay, your front sight is lined up on your rear sight, then you can do that. This is probably not the best ruler for this. Maybe a small steel, like machinist ruler would be better for that, guys. But there you go. That's it. That is it. It is more in keeping everything clean, keeping up with that small hardware, using a decent amount of Loctite. And I don't know why these sights are listed as including the screws, and they do not. The first sight that I bought a few months ago did come with hardware that I ended up not using. I did use the factory screws on my G3 install also. This set, it specifically listed on the website that it came with screws, and it did not. There were no screws in the packaging. And again, I just used the factory screws on it. Because it's like a factory sight install. Not a lot to it, very easy. And you know what? If you take it out and shoot it and you need to adjust from there, just remember those small set screws, okay? There is a lot of vibration and pressure that goes on while firing a handgun. And the smaller that hardware is, the more help it needs in order to keep those parts clamped. So use a little bit of Loctite. Don't use too much of it. You don't want it seeping through the bottom of the slide and getting all over everything. That's no bueno right there. But give it a chance to work, and then shoot around those sights and see how they do for you. I am pretty doggone happy with these sights. Let's go ahead and we'll drop the barrel back in here, and let's go back with our recoil spring and bring our frame out here, and we will throw this back together quickly for you guys so you can see what they look like on the firearm. See, they're just a little bit bigger. They do give you a better sight picture, a faster sight picture. And they are pretty doggone bright as far as night sights go. Of course, I've got all kinds of studio lighting going here, and it's in the middle of the daytime anyway. But that front focus ring, that bright orange fluorescent focus ring, is fantastic. You can see it very much shows. It very much shows against any background. I mean, unless somebody is breaking into your house wearing a fluorescent orange shirt, and then you're sort of fucked right there. Excuse my French, but if somebody's breaking in the middle of your house, you're not worried about what kind of language you're going to use anyway. So there you go, guys. That is the install of the Ameriglo made Taurus factory night sights on the Taurus G2c. These sights are available on the Taurus website. I will put a link in the description section and pin it in the pinned comment, and hopefully they will be in stock still. They're a little pricey when you're looking at a $200 gun and you're spending $80 on a set of sights. Some people have an issue with that, but you know what? $80 for a set of name brand night sights is not expensive. It just seems expensive when you're putting them on a $200 gun. But this is 2020. So, you know, I paid $199 for this pistol in 2019. They're $299 now. They're $100 more due to demand in our current situation, let's say. The current situation of Clown World 2020. So even if it seems expensive, remember, bad guys do their thing in low light. If you absolutely need to see your sights in low light, then you need to have a set of night sights. I have night sights on all of my pistols. I even have night sights on the backup iron sights of my AR-15. The only thing I don't have night sights on right now is the front sight of my shotgun, and that's just because I haven't gotten around to changing that sight yet. And it will eventually get a night sight insert on it because, as I said, bad guys are cowards. They do their shit in the dark. They want to take advantage of you in the dark, and that is why we use night sights. That's why we put lights and lasers on our firearms, is to give us, to balance that out so we can defend ourselves. So there you go, guys. Night sight install on the Taurus G2c. These sights also work on the G3, the full-size G3, and the TX22 pistol. Now, the G3C, the new compact version, it does have Glock dovetail on it. So you can use a standard Glock dovetail fit sight for it, and you can get those. Good Lord, anybody that makes sights at all makes 100 different models for Glock dovetails. But if you've got, you know, the G2C, regular G3, or TX22, these are the sights that I think you want to go with, in my opinion. This is the second G-Series pistol I have put these on, and I have been very, very happy with them so far. Again, the link will be in the description section and in the pinned comment. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.